Well, hello there, everybody. I'm planning to get someone who's much more tech savvy than me and convince them to do like one of those countdown videos for me so I can actually, and get back to using um, the proper app for streaming instead of just using a webcam. But, I'm being a bit of a Luddite. I hope this sounds okay. Uh, Lamentations of the villagers and the death rattles of those with arms. Yeah, the arms rattle so much. They're all bony. Just a quick head. I have a very close friend who had a pet emergency last night. So if they need to talk, I might cut this short. I want to support them. But there's two books to start. There's a lot of work to show, and there's another page I want to start. It's actually a monster design process I want to go through with you guys as well. So a lot of good stuff tonight. But first, the books. All right. So this is the big deal book, and the other one's a big deal to me. But this is the book I've been like, as soon as I heard about it, I knew I needed it. And if I ever meet Jaime, I'm going to get him to do a drawing right here. This is, I mean, I got all his collections. I love Love and Rockets, but Jaime, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Jaime just does everything so good. He's almost like if Hergé was reincarnated from modern comic sensibilities, and this is just so good. Oh, can't show that on YouTube. Oops, I forgot. I haven't gotten that far, so I didn't know about the nudity there. I'm only like about 20, 30 pages in. It's so good. It's just so good. It's just as good as comics can be. Everything the Hernandez brothers do, I love. I mean, I love Gilbert. Gilbert is an amazing cartoonist. Um, and then there's Mario, who's really out there. I mean, he does really interesting things. But I gotta say, Jaime's the guy for me. And the other book, I really can't recommend this stuff. I got this one. This is $25 US. I mean, that's so cheap. So it's probably like 35 Canadian, maybe less. It's just such a beautiful book, and I'm not going to open it again because I didn't realize there's like sex scenes in it. Whoops! I just banged the camera. The other book. See if I can get this. So this is Ho Chi Anderson. He's a local artist. Years ago, when I was finishing up in college at Sheridan, I interned at a comic book company called Vortex Comics. Probably most famous for doing Mr. X. Trying to think what else. And Hernandez brothers worked on that too, so that was a thing. And they wrapped up doing NASCAR comics, which apparently made them a ton of money, but eventually stopped being profitable. So while I was interning there, this artist would show up. And because he was looking for work, he's really young. I think he was like just a couple of years ahead of me. This is kind of cool. Hang on. This is from Black Eye Books too, so they're a pretty good publisher. Did a little drawing for me. Look at that. You remember we reconnected, and that's how I even knew about the book. But he had this really strong 80s era Howard Chaykin vibe. Like the new stuff is really pretty, but his early stuff, the stuff he talks about him being embarrassed. Here you can see the sense, the combination of being inspired by Ken Brusnak and Howard Chaykin, along with his own really graphic approach, like a really strong design sense, where he takes that kind of like, I almost want to say there's a Hernandez aspect in terms of his line work here, but he's got much more of a fluid line in this early stuff. And he wasn't afraid of just stylizing stuff into weird shapes. I got to be careful about the content here because I mean, I think I Want to Be Your Dog is referenced in this here, and that's pretty explicit. But this is it's a beautiful book of an artist who, I mean, it's good to, I hate to say this because if I show this to new people like you guys, I show this work and they go, oh my God, he's good. Then you see the stuff he was doing in the 90s and you might be disappointed. The thing of it is we all come from somewhere, we all get better at our own rate. And I think being able to see this early developmental work from this guy who went on to do so many amazing works. I mean, if you know him, you know his works. But there's the explicit stuff again. Superman, look at that. Great Superman. I like that piece a lot. I love the layout, the sweetest chill. That looks good. Yeah, he's really good. I should probably. I got a couple of his other books on my shelf in the other room. I wouldn't know which shelf to start looking for, so I don't want to go crazy looking for it. But I'll probably bring one or two of his other projects out to show in the future because he's really good. And this book is really affordable. He crowdfunded it, but I think it's still available through Black Eye Books. If you're interested in checking it out, really interesting developmental stuff. All right, so those are the two books this week, and I think they're books that any art collector would be happy to have in their collection. Hope may be an acquired taste. All right, so I restocked. Wow, that was a weird flasher. I restocked on my matte medium, or sorry, my matte varnish. So I got the finish on the Vader piece that I want, but it didn't scan as nicely. That's why it hasn't been sent yet. So I want to get a day with good lighting in my apartment, and then take a good high quality photograph. Just because I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like it feels as smoky and battle damaged and portentous an as an element as in I hate to say this, it's gonna sound airy. I think I nailed it. Okay, so I kind of want to keep a really high quality record of it. So that's why I haven't sold it. So I'm going to be sending it this week. Sorry for the delay. Other stuff to show. All right, so the page I started last week and I said I was going to finish this week. Well, had some weird kind of health hiccups. And as I ended up doing a lot more work on this as warm-ups to do the other stuff I have to do. So I ended up finishing the whole page. Patreons already know that because I went and posted it. But so yeah, so this whole page is done. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is no two of the monsters that the Vikings fight in this book are going to look alike. They're going to be, a lot of them are going to be based on a similar phenotype. I'm going to talk about like physiological type. I'm going to talk about that while I do the design stuff, but each one's going to have to be designed on their own. The inspiration for that aspect is a little bit like the kaiju from Pacific Rim, where every kaiju comes out and has its own personality and everything. So I'm going to be trying to do that with all the Viking monsters here. I mean, it really is. It's a variation on the murder mystery 10 Little Indians, where it's like they die one by one. But it's not a murder mystery in the sense that we know what's killing them, but we get to see new variations of like these monsters that kill these Vikings as they try and figure out a way off this island. So, and the scenes are going to be when they're on the island. They pass through these weird floating fire pillars in the middle of the ocean. And into the smoky, and before they hit the island, when they hit the island, the entire sky's on fire. So it's like, it's dark red. The entire sequence in this island is going to be dark red. So it's going to be really interesting to color. So I'm really excited about this. I got a whole bunch of other pages I got to scan. I haven't done the white paint work on it. I did it on this. That's why I scanned it and posted everything. But I got a whole, I think the first 20 some odd pages or so are all done. So that's good. The other thing I did this week, and I also posted for my Patreons, is I don't think I talked about this before, but I'm drawing. Mark wrote a Toxic Avenger Jesus crossover for Ahoy, and I'm drawing and coloring the whole thing. It'll be interesting. First time return to Second Coming full art since the second volume. Really excited about it. I had a good talk with Mark about some of the ideas I had after reading a script. And I think it's going to be a real good thing. I got the flats. I started coloring this morning. I'm going to finish it tonight before I go to bed. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I think I had a lot. I got to tell you, I had a lot of problems getting the Ahoy Toxic right. I still think I'm a little off there, but I did so many drawings. I think it's going to be easier in the book. I was really worried about, screwing up because he's got that bent face and the giant eye, and how the eyes are sitting and his eyebrows are sitting are very specific. So I just had to be careful about that. So I'm really excited about that. I might actually do a stream or do a page on this. If there's a page I think might really excite you guys, or if you guys are excited about me doing this. There's Tux. All right. Thank you, guys. Hammy is a god. You're right. Yeah. I want to go back to Indigo so hard. I mean, they closed my closest Indigo location to kill the Union, which really turned me off on Indigo. But I mean, now Amazon, Jesus. I haven't. They should have sent me one. I should reach out to them. Okay, Sasquatch. I really appreciate you liking it. I still feel I fell short with that story. Um, Given a second chance at doing a Savage Sword story, I would probably draw the art slightly smaller, so it could be tighter, and I'd rely less on the bleed. I would probably make bleeds very, very rare pages to keep the line work and the drawing a little tighter. And I felt working at that oversized size messed with my head in a way that I wasn't prepared for. Had I done a smaller project that size before, I would have been better prepared for it. I just dove right in. But I'm really happy you like it. And my dumping on my own work is to be expected. I think every artist whose main goal is to just always be getting better is to you kind of dump on your own work. I mean, it's a rare thing. Like my liking that Darth Vader piece, a big part of my liking it is the fact it's a little outside my usual comfort zone, how loose the Vader's painted. But I feel the loose gave me a type of contextual accuracy to the commission that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten, if that makes sense. And if you have any questions about process or anything, like, I mean, like, I could probably do one of these days I'm gonna have to do a rubber stamp video where I actually show the entire process from like when I make the digital screen, what I send to, and actually videotape on my camera, what I send to the stamp maker, and then what I get back. I think a lot of guys would like that. I've done a couple of short videos in the past where I talked about it in streams, but these things are useful. I also got like a bunch more I keep wanting to make, but my stamp guy went out of business. He sold it, and then the people who took over went out of business. So I got to start again. All right, so what we got here is we got a monster, or at least the monster that's showing up for this couple pages. Now, lose that. What I'm going to be doing is I like simian shaped monsters initially, like that the whole gorilla thing with the short legs. I blame Mignola. He drew so many like ape shaped monsters over his career. So I'm just gonna start with a vaguely gorilla type shape. I might move more into an orangutan shape as I go. Straighten that out a bit. I like really long arms, so I'm going to drop, instead of like on a human, let me talk about human proportions here for a second. You know what? I'm going to cheat here. I was just going to draw it. But what I do a thing when I used to teach, I talked about the 8-head stick. So you could draw a vertical stick anywhere on a plane. So if we're talking perspective, like, so we got a horizon here, you got a vanishing point, and you got lines like that. Okay. So this guy's on this vanishing point, he's standing at this line. So there's his neck. Actually, we should do the big point of why we do an 8-head stick. So this isn't an 8-head stick, it's a stick. But if I divide it in half, where the pubis is, then I divide those halves in half again. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate. This is where I get my kneecap. This is where my heel goes. Pubis, glutes come underneath. Nipples there, rib cage comes slightly lower than that. So here we have a figure with reasonably accurate proportions from a stick. And because he's standing on a vertical plane, what I can do is I can put another body here. And what I can do is I can do the top of his head down to the vanishing point, then vertical stick here, if the person's standing at this point, now I'll have them facing the other way. The person standing at this point in the horizon, you can do that there. That's a little off. Again, doesn't matter. Right? They're all the same height going in on the distance. If you want someone shorter, let's say your typical female character is a head shorter. I can draw a woman here on the same side. Top of her head's here. She's still an 8-head stick. And I use 8 head stick. Even though the human body on average is 7.5 heads tall, I use 8 head because it just makes the math easier and faster. So you just divide it in 8 sections. You don't even have to do lower half of that because the knee's there. So in proportion, slightly shorter woman. So that's the whole 8-head stick thing, right? So with humans, arm usually elbow comes to the bottom of the rib cage, wrist comes to below the pelvis, hand falls to mid thigh. That's a human arm. Sometimes they're longer, like Chadwick Boseman has super long arms. Some people have short arms. Women generally have shorter arms. So if I'm doing a gorilla with extra long arms, I'm going to drop his elbow to his pelvis. So this is the curve of the line going through that. So that's now his elbow. Still going to be the same humerus. So we still have that kind of wedge shape at the bottom. Okay. And the lower arm, if you ever do a measurement, you realize that your wrist comes up to slightly lower than your shoulder. So your lower arm is shorter than your upper arm. And gorillas have stupidly long palms. Brachialis. Now, this is probably not going to be a silverback. Silverbacks would use one, remember, because I've drawn so many of them. Probably going to make an orangutan-ish type thing. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of like the basic shape. I like those insane long arms because it means that his attack is going to be less predictable in terms of like what I set up. I mean, they can swing up from anywhere. And if there's ever like if they ever make a movie or an animated series or something out of these stories, you always have to hope. It gives them fun things to play with visually. That's one of the big benefits of like comic design versus designing for movies. And designing for movies, you're going to be stuck with a lot of people who already have ideas what they want things to look like. You're designing for your own comics, and then they license it. They look at your stuff and they kind of go, "Oh, that's what he meant." So, and this is roughly the scale I'm looking at. So when this guy stands up, he's going to be at least. So that's his 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's off the top of the page when he's standing up. So he's Bigfoot. Okay, so that's more or less the general shape, but there's shit I want to do with the monster that makes them weird. So I'm gonna make what I'm thinking about in terms of this creature. Let's get this over here a little bit so it's sort of on camera. Probably move this over here a bit. There we go. Yeah. Sharpen the pencil a bit. I like these big, they're so comfortable in the fingers. And they don't break as much as my mechanical pencils. There we go, nice and sharp. All right, so in the initial page, I gave him more like a bobblehead. So from a distance, you'll see the white of his eyes. But he's going to be more or less a black shape, right? That's what everything here in the other page, which is kind of scary. So if you got like a weird black silhouette that does weird things. So you can't see its mouth, you can't see features, you can just see contours. And what I'm thinking are essentially points of light from his eyebrows. Let me go super dark here, and then they're trying to erase them out, make them whiter still. It's a 4B, should allow me to get pretty dark. Yeah, that's pretty dark. Now the question is, what makes this monster interesting or unique if it's a black shape? It's what you do in the black shape. So what I thought I'm going to do is, it's kind of inspired by Jackson's King Kong. There's a scene where all the sailors, all the crew, fall into a valley, and it's full of like, giant bugs that eat everyone pretty much. Anthony Serkis really goes out badly. My electric eraser. Oh wow, it's making sounds in my headphones. That's not making sounds in. Hope you guys aren't hearing that. Here we go. All right. So he's going to have glowing white eyes, which is kind of stereotypical. But I already have ideas on how I want to handle that when he's actually interacting. I'm also going to do it similarly with his hands. Trying to think, I have to do a couple of practices on it to make sure that I can work it out. And so what if he is like bizarrely hairy, like covered in like really coarse black hair? And all these weird light things, like his eyes glowing, and when he's attacking the Viking, his fingertips are going to emerge with these white points as well, and they're going to get longer, and the hair is going to pull away from him, and those are the points that are going to touch him, and it's going to be a little bit like The Thing, and how it kind of like merges into his skin. Again, these are demons, not monsters, rather than creatures, as it were. It's a monster design, so it can do monstrous things. So this one is going to essentially suck everything out of this guy with these weird kind of like appendages he has. So the idea is that all the hairs are going to be growing away from these white points, and you'll see them pull away as we do close-ups on them. So you get close, the holes are going to look raggedy. I'm going to apply some hair texture in the contour. Best thing about these thick pencils is the more vigorously you use them, the more quickly they give you a nice thick tip to fill large areas. So versatile. And this will look a lot stronger, I think, in black ink. Oh, I'm way off. Oh my gosh, here we go. Much better. Didn't realize how off the page I was. At the very least, I should probably start up a Discord, and that way, again, that's me, having to get everything set up better, and actually figure out more of the technology on my own. But if I get Discord, then we can have people talking back and forth, and if I'm drawing off screen, someone can say, "Hey, drawing off screen." I don't have to pay as much attention. Yeah, like that. And then the fingers, which are going to be long gorilla hands. And the fingers, of course, are going to get longer the more they try and engage with the Viking. Because, of course, they're going to engage with the Viking. Oh, I just knocked over. Oh, my little bridge. All right. I have a acrylic drawing bridge I bought on whim. And I'm a little disappointed with it. It's really soft. So it doesn't really support the arm as much. But it's good. Like I also realized I haven't finished that Etrigan painting from a while back. I just stumbled across it while prepping this week for stuff, and I'm like, oh, I gotta finish that soon. Definitely want to finish it before the Comic Art Fans show this summer. I think that might be a good piece to have for there, even though it's a DC piece, and apparently they all love Marvel. Oh, if anyone's interested, the $35 a month for an end of year 11x17 cover art level commission is live on Patreon. So if you want to get an affordable commission on a payment plan, it's available. The Darth Vader was one. The Bride of Frankenstein one was another. Um, might be tricky. I don't think I'd draw that thumb there in the comic book here. I might not even draw it there. Might not even draw the thumb. Honestly, it's becoming an issue. Just a badly designed hand to show off the silhouette. I just really wanted to show off the tips getting longer. Okay, I think I got this figured. Look how dirty. Look at all that graphite. Is there a lot of lag? Is anyone else getting a lot of lag on the screen? Yeah, I haven't used Discord a lot either. It's tedious. but it is an easy fix for communication. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start laying out the page. I want to clean off my hand first because that's way too much graphite before starting something. Just need a spray bottle and a paper towel. Just wipe that graphite right off my hand. Look at that. So much graphite. Can't use a pencil again. It's good for what I was just using it for, but it's terrible for laying up pencils. It's just too soft. 4B is just too soft for penciling. Unless you're reproducing from pencils, then go for it, because then it's dark enough to reproduce properly. All right. Where's my regular mechanical? Less fun to draw with pencil. Here we go. Okay, so if you remember the page, okay, so we have, this is him falling into, kind of climbing down to this valley. His leg's already messed up from a previous fight. He's trying to find a way out of here, and there's that demon. In fact, I think I'm going to need to. There we go. That's better. Also, you know what? Hang on. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just need a few more dots of white to get that going. So in the last panel, he hears the thing creeping up on him. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. There we go. So, of course, the first thing he's going to do, God, can I not leave anything alone? There we go. Just want to put a little more volume into that hair there. So the way I look at it, important things to have for the next page: Viking reaction. You know what? I actually know the name of this Viking, but I'm actually also unsure if it's the right one. And since I drew this page out of sequence, and I'm not quite sure how to place him into the story yet. I know where he's coming from in the story, but it's like a whole bunch of sequences like this. So I want the Viking reaction to the monster. Then we have to establish something creepy about the monster. Creepy aspect. Monster. Then initiate attack. So those are 3 main points of this page. That doesn't mean 3 panels. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of like significant lag here, and it's happened a couple times before. Hopefully, I mean, is this legible, or is everything like really, really degraded? Wow, my hand just disappeared from the screen completely. If I just close everything on my other computers, that might reduce the bandwidth. I'll put my phone on airplane mode too. That might give us a few more drops of bandwidth. All right, so these are 3 main points for the page, but it doesn't mean the panel count. So let's do the panel count. First panel, Viking reaction. So it's the same thing. Now, panel 2 is, do I show the full monster? Like, do I immediately jump to it? I think not. I want to do a close-up of monster hand picking up a rock. There's all these loose rocks here in the bottom of the valley. Then I get to move up, close up a monster, or closer on monster with rock. Four throws rock. And rushes Viking. So that's 4 panels again. It's an action sequence, so I'm okay doing the 4 panel average, especially with big monsters. So okay, so I think the Viking reaction, we deserve to give him a big panel. I'll do a quick thumbnail, and I'll do a better thumbnail right after. So if I gave him like a big half page, I could do. I can actually have the spear like kind of burst into lower panels. So that's good. That's a nice thing leading on into here. And I can use that to actually give me like 2 panels there. I may not do the battle break right underneath the spear. I might just do the spear like right through. And then have 2 panels like underneath it, like completely bifurcated by the spear tip, which will allow them to read separately, especially if this bleeds and these don't. So there'd be like, like a little black and white insert in here. So 2 little panels in there. So this would be the monster grabbing the rock. See its long ass fingers like reaching out and grabbing the rock. And then picking up the rock and then getting a close look at his face. He's become kind of small. And if it's like he's throwing it and rushing, what if he's preparing to throw it now? That has to be a bigger panel then, because then we could actually do him throwing it. Doing that kind of like gorilla waddle as he like throws and rushes. All right, okay, so I got my 4 panels. Okay, I got my 4 panels. This is too big. But because it's largely a vertical thing, what I can do, try another page, do the halfway thing. So it still goes down to here. Smaller slightly. I can still have that spear going across. He's still reacting. Now he's emerging from behind that rock he was behind before. Probably make that more straight out. So here he is, just emerging from the rock, holding it. You know what? I'm going to do, add a panel. So I like that panel. Really draw them smaller there. Get more of the figure in there, but have them like reacting, ready to throw that rock back. Really have that, really sell that like that football throwing pose. And then that panel becomes that panel because I think that panel works, especially with a little bit more room because then I can do shadows leading into the Viking standing ready for the attack. And then the next page will be the Viking possibly dodging the rock and then simultaneously getting attacked by the monster. And then we reveal the weird white stuff that comes out of his, like his fingertips and everything. All right, so we have a page. Grab a layout sheet. This one's kind of beat up. I'll take it, run over it, and share a few times. But it should be for this. This is kind of big for a layout sheet. I might have page like this. Am I out? Oh my gosh, it might be another layout page. Oh, hang on. Okay, here's, wow, I have like one blank one, half blank one left. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? It might be some in my other bag. Hang on 1 second. A lot of times I'll do layouts when I'm out of the studio, so I carry a nice little stash of layout paper in my portfolio, which is completely empty. So that means I must have used it for last time. So what I'm going to quickly do, and hopefully my printer will be faster than last time, is I will quickly print up some layout pages. Man, I should organize this a lot better. I got so many files just sitting there. Bleed. This is okay-ish. It's not the one I want. Oh, hang on. I have to open Photoshop. I found them. So, file, print. Yeah, I'm printing a higher quality paper. I like printing these on, but I'll just print 10. 10. Print. I can just grab the first one that comes off and start working. Absolutely, absolutely. Your first thumbnail is always going to be garbage. And there's a chance that after I pencil this one, I may not like it anymore. I might have to do a new layout. It's just the way it goes. Okay, so only printed one. I hate when Photoshop does that. I hit 10, but it didn't. Come on, Photoshop, open up. Here we go. All right, there we go. This will print 10, and then I'll be cut flat for the next time. All right. Okay, that's a little bit faster, so maybe shutting everything down helped. All right, so these are my usual layout pages. And I do pretty much everything in pencil on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, put this aside. And part of the reason I use this page is all these lines are parallel to each other. So if I want, I can do some decent bullshit perspective right on these layout pages. I could do a session on that. There's been a bunch of videos of people how to do fake perspective just by having marks on the side. It's like, you do a line every 5 here, but a line every 3 here. You get a vanishing point over here. So everything expands out and it happens consistently. So it's a good thing to do. All right, so let me grab this. So according to my thumbnail, so I can move this stuff like crazy. Should I use a pen? Yeah, I'll use a pen. Halfway down the page. This is going to bleed, so I'm going to draw an extra line here. but these aren't going to bleed. Part of the reason I don't want them to bleed is I want the visual to go down to the bottom half of the page faster. It's not a necessary thing. I like the idea of the panel being smaller. So like the arm coming out, establishing how long the arm is and grabbing a rock, and then having a smaller panel. So I'm actually going to use the grid lines here because they come in handy sometimes. And I can always move things around when I get to the actual pencils. Nothing ever stays perfectly gridded. So big panel. And you know what? I think if it's bleeding, I can actually go over to here with it. Let me do that. And this is why I shouldn't be drawing this shit in pen. And these two panels are going to be shine bleed as well. Either everything bleeds or nothing really bleeds. You know, I might make the bottom panel bleed. It's a nice narrow panel of him reaching back to throw. And you know what? Yeah, I think in hindsight, I'm going to make this bottom panel bleed right across. It's a big panel. It's instigation of action, so I can just ignore those lines. If I had like a regular cheap, there it is, water-based marker. Here we go. Just to establish everything I'm doing here. It's an old Staples water-based. Might be alcohol-based, but it's drying out like crazy, so that's why I can use it for this type of stuff and not worry about bleeding through paper like crazy. It's great for like spotting blacks. No, and this is going to come out to there. Yeah, there we go. It's a black line right in there. Wow, this is dying. I wonder if I can refill it with carbon ink. Might be nice. If I just dip the tip in some carbon ink and see what happens. See if it sucks it up. Oh, look how black that is. That's perfect. All right, maybe I'll refill this marker. Yeah, it's permanent. Well, I'll just refill it with water-based fountain pen ink. As long as it works, I'll use it. So I'll let you know where all the blacks are going to be. It's just a neat little thing I learned over time to just quickly get them knocked down on the layouts when you want to really have a sense of like where the blacks are. And when I talk about carbon ink, I'm talking about this fountain pen ink. Carbon ink, it's great stuff. I use it in my brush pens. Good stuff. Good stuff. How are we doing time-wise too? Oh, it's good. We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. Now I had a pencil and I put it down there. There we go. Oh, any chatter here. Okay, hopefully the lag is not too bad. All right. So should I tape this up here? This is nice fully on camera, isn't it? I'm going to tape this up here. All right, so I put the pencil down again. I immediately lost it because I put it underneath where I put the tape. Okay, so we got the Viking standing here. I do want to force that perspective a bit. So we're going to be above looking down, so his feet are going to be back here. Think about leg placement here. I want it forward, but I also want his arms forward, so it's going to be a little tricky to, without photo reference, I guess I could quickly pose one of my Fison figures, but every once in a while I like just figuring that shit out. Arms coming forward, so that's going to have some perspective happening in it. You know what? Twist this like that way. Probably make them bigger, like when I blow it up to pencil it full size, I'll probably make them bigger in the scan there. All right, so we got sloping rocks. Using his black shape and the shadow he casts to connect everything here. So he's going to be on the side here. He picks up the rock. Now this panel where he's reaching back to throw the rock, I could do a whole bunch of things like not liking that. Wonderful thing about drawing all those things in ink before it means when I erase them, I don't erase panel borders, which is great, unless you want to erase panel borders and you have to use white paint. Now I can do a 180, actually do, close up of the rock. Monster's hand wrapping around the rock, his arm coming back. It's a weird angle. His head. No, that's not working either. Oh God, that's a weird angle. I don't think a reader would actually understand that angle. Maybe more of a full figure. Yeah, I'll put the Viking in the foreground here. So then when I do the final panel, where he's like, so I get to draw like an actual line, like the shadow of the monster leaping across the ground is going to be. All right, that's still working for me. I like the addition of the Viking to the extreme foreground here. I might make this smaller and move it back when I scan it, which I'm going to do now. I think this layout holds better. This guy's going to be changed after scanning, making bigger movement position on. So what I'm going to do now, it means it's going to be dead air for a few minutes, or dead screen time for a few minutes. Let me put this page back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this, enlarge it to 11 by 17, and print it out pretty much as is. Like, I mean, apart from the size stuff I talked about. Why is this not saying? Here we go. And then I'll be going literally over these exact layouts, but at full size, which means that a lot of my penciling work's already done. So now I'm trying over the blue line of my layout. Darn it. Maybe I should use that tape. There we go. That's what tape's for. I'll just put that up there. Keep it up. How are all these pens ending up on the floor? Too many of them. All right, let me quickly scan this. Yeah, I'm happy you got more pages ready to print too. I'm ready to do that because I got finished laying out. I just realized why I'm out of layout paper. I did so much of the Toxic Avenger Jesus book. I completely forgot that I used up the last of them. Start. Okay. Custom scan. Hopefully it won't take too long. It gives me a chance to drink something and freshen up my breath. Okay, my usual audience questions. You guys see any cool TV shows or movies in the last week? I know I'm really far behind on certain things. Like, I think it's Paradise, the TV series from Apple about security guard for president. 2 episodes left. I think the last one has to broadcast. So I'm waiting until the last 2 episodes are up before I binge the last 2 episodes of that. Haven't seen anything else. I'm just it's just been that kind of week between work and Toxic Avenger and constant dread and fear about these stupid tariffs. Never know what to do. Oops. I do a lot of things after I initially scan. One of the first things I do, I go to in Photoshop, I go to Adjustments, Curves, and I move the black slider over a bit. That'll darken the pencils, and move the white slider over a bit to drop all the white out of the or the light gray out of the background of the pencils. Filter unsharp mask, which tightens up those pencils a bit. Image adjustments. Let's just convert it to blue and print it out. Well, actually, I have to. So stupid. I literally said I was going to resize some stuff and then I didn't. Just a little bit, move them up a bit. You'll see what the change I've done. I'm redoing some pencils as I go over this. But I'm making in panel 3. I'm making the demon smaller. I almost call him Bigfoot, so I made him smaller. I'm also going to make the Viking a little bit bigger and center him a bit more, in case I want to have him talk or something, which I don't think is going to happen. But oh, hang on. Okay, that's fixed. All right. What else was I going to? I was going to make him bigger in the first panel. That's to redirect the spear a bit. That should do it. Okay, I think this is it done? Almost done? Maybe close to done. All right, let's Okay. Control U. Switch it to non-photo blue. Image size 10.5 at 300 dpi. There we go. Standard plain paper. All right, that should just. There we go. Print. Oh, Shallow Grave is so good. SNL50 was actually, I didn't get to see all of it. But I did enjoy what I did see at the SNL50, especially the highlights later. I really gotta watch. Why is it printing? It started printing and stopped. What the hell? I'm gonna cancel that job because I don't know what the hell it's doing. It just stopped. Come on, let me close the job. Jesus. All right. Why the hell did it do a data thing? This printer's getting old. It's I've had it since I moved here, and I've been here for 10 years. So I think it's an 11-year-old printer. There we go. It's printing fine now. Well, like me, everything's getting old. So. Oh, and it's printing multiple pages because I printed multiple pages earlier today. Of course it is. I don't need multiple pages printed. Where's my printer control button? Why doesn't it let me cancel any of these jobs? Okay, finally got it canceled. That is so weird. I just wasted like 3 pages of paper. Yay. Oh well. So here is, in fact, you know what? I want those other pages here just so I'm drawing on a softer surface. So if I screw up this page, I can actually start penciling on another page. So this is me jumping to pencil. So this is layouts as they become pencil pages. First things first, a lot of the blue will disappear when I transfer this over to printed ink. So I think it's kind of imperative that I make sure that one of the first things I do is make sure all the border lines are drawn, panel borders. Hold on. I finished the first book of Dances at the End of Time. Really enjoyed it. I think maybe 10 pages into the second. I think I already got an idea what I'm going to do for it. So if I solidify that idea, that's what I'll do next week, or I might finish this page next week if I don't finish it during the week. With all the Toxic Avenger stuff, I think I might more likely be able to save this page for next week. Sorry, I just wanted to. It was easier to pull the board off to do the that one little bit of line work there. All right, so pencils are now transferred to, layouts are now transferred to a pencil page, so then I can actually draw all this stuff. And well, I will take my time because it's the primary goal is to do a good job. And if I rush, it reduces the likelihood I'll be able to do a good job. So I never rush any of the work to that degree. Although some clients would love me to do just work to get it done, which is never great. But commissions are do them until they're right. I think I've only had to replace one commission in my career where the client wasn't happy with it. I was still happy with it. I thought I did the job, but he was expecting a different type of painted piece, and painted pieces are always a little trickier around with that. Reference for another page, anything. Toxic Avenger layout. See, I did have other pages right there, but they're just buried. All right. Okay, so we got our Viking here. So let me reinitialize with his figure here. So he's roughly there for placement. Now I want this. Do I want the spear pointing at this panel or this panel? I kind of want it pointing at the viewer. So maybe I'll pull it back down here and have the tip here. So that would become the spear. It's not a super long spear. It's more of a harpooning spear. So this torso. Here you are seeing me default to kind of a Bridgman construction. I mean these lines. This is going to be bleeding, so I'm going to be drawing like stuff all the way through here. So I decided not to do these lines. So this is going to come. It's going to feel visually bigger because of my doing that. bit. Yeah, let's do this here. Kind of think of it's more like a boar spear that he's traveling with. I figured the Vikings will have encountered boars a certain amount. So he has like that push stop there for when the boar charges, it'll actually stop it. Can't forget his belt buckle. Okay, I think that's that panel. It really is. Yeah. You're not far off from what my initial idea is there, Anson. I mean, honestly, that's at the end of time. You kind of got to do them dancing, right? We're not wrong here. It's kind of imperative to the characters. I'm gonna have to put a new light in here pretty soon. This one's running out. All right, that's 2 panels. My mom. Yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna have to move this page up. I'm gonna draw the last 2 pages. All right, almost at 8:30. Okay, damn it. Well, let's see if I can finish these 2 panels quickly. At very least, I'll finish this panel. But that would mean that the pencils for next week are done, which gives me an extra incentive to like just, leave this so you guys can see me ink this mess completely. Can I ink the full page in one session? No, but I can probably ink at least a couple of panels. And these are easily some of the easiest panels I can ever draw. It's like the back of the head and their upper shoulders. Obviously, that shadow might actually do with a rubber stamp when it comes to inking it. So I might end up showing up the next session with that already. All right, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Can I ink this panel or pencil this panel in 4 minutes? Probably. Yeah, I gotta get some lids in this. That's so weird. It's like, didn't pull it. All right. Must have refilled a new lid in there. No, I don't like that arm. Wow, I just flew out there. That's weird. Maybe this pencil's starting to go. I've had it for a very, very long time. All right, well, that's the page. All right, everybody. Whoops. Painter's tape ripping the cheapest paper here. That's okay. All right, so here he is standing in the rocky bottom of that weird valley. Monster reaching out, grabbing the stone, exaggerating how long its arm is. Close up of the monster, close up of the rock. Clearly emerging, about to throw the rock. Then he throws it and starts rushing. I might change his figure. I need to think about it. Doesn't feel like he's got speed quite yet. I might redraw him. This guy's fine. This guy's fine. I can tweak him a bit when I'm making him. That arm's too long. Just a little bit too long. There we go. No, I'm probably going to get back up here. Feel I made his midsection too long. These arms are too long too. Shorten these arms a little bit. So this leg should be thicker and shorter. Yeah, I get finicky at this point. feels more direct. All right, yeah, okay. Lutefisk, really derf. Thanks. You're kind of always trying to figure out like something that might, when you're introducing a new critter or something that kind of like exaggerates, like so the reader knows exactly what they're looking at. And this little figure at the bottom actually feels like he's actually like launching into action. I'll probably, yeah, I'll do it right now. So much of this stuff is just fiddling around until you're actually like, okay, that works. Here I was saying I'm leaving, I'm like, I'm still working. Still don't like that arm either. I'm going to erase that arm. I'm going to leave it erased until before next week. So it gives me time to think about it. So I really want, I like the idea of that arm being down a bit and allowing him to like do the gorilla thing. You know what I mean? Like the one arm down, grabbing the ground. All right. Okay. So we're in March now. This is the first. Hey, Bernie Online TV. Good evening to you too. You're showing up 7 minutes after I'm usually done. I've never had Lutefisk Ensign. All right. So first March stream. I think that went pretty good. Heads up to people who were waiting for the $35 a month tier for an 11x17 commission at the end of the year. It is now live. There's 2 up. One person already committed to taking it, so there's like 1 available. To see my work, I'm trying to push more people to Bluesky. Sign up on Bluesky, so we have a meta-free platform to engage with. I'm still am not planning to leave Meta platforms anytime soon. I'm still on Instagram, which you pasted Instagram, so you can see all my work there. But as time goes on, I will be supporting Meta far less and trying to drive everyone over to Bluesky, which is far less political, and they don't do all the algorithm and censorship nonsense that Instagram or Facebook does. I'm not on Twitter at all. I'm happily gone from there. I don't do threads. Not on any other platforms. Right now, it's just Patreon, $1 a month. If you just want to see everything, including all the uncensored stuff and behind the scenes stuff, get early looks at covers and stuff before publishers actually announce them. Yeah, and next week I'll be inking this. I'm assuming the week after I will probably do dances at the end of the time. I think 2 weeks gives me enough time to at least finish the second book and get a real sense of what I want to do. If I haven't made up my mind, probably by next week, I'll probably have to finish the whole book. Bums on Patreon. Yes, you can see all the bums and all the other anatomy that you want on Patreon. A lot more direct contact with me, other benefits on Patreon, discounts on my art shop and all that stuff, advanced notices of everything. So Patreon's a pretty good deal. So, just $1 a month, or if you want to, I gotta say, I got 3, potentially 4 people already excited about the idea of just spending $35 a month, and at the end of the year getting a cover quality 11x17 commission. It's a lot less. There's so many times where someone really wants like a really big cover commission, and I can't do them cheap. I have to charge what I need to charge for them. And they get kind of disappointed and say, well, I'll get a 9 by 12, which is I'm more than happy to do. But I know there's a lot of people out there who want those big pieces, and they're really hard to swindle that money. So I figure I can use Patreon's monthly payment system as a means to help people just do a pay-as-you-go plan for an 11 by 17 commission. So that's over on Patreon. So there's 2 slots available now, although one of them is kind of spoken for. Yeah, I think that's everything. I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up today, everyone who liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel. We're slowly growing. Someday we'll hit 1,000 followers, which I think is kind of amazing. Nice goal to look for. Trying to make it every week. I did have some health issues late last year, which kind of screwed that up a bit, but I think I'm getting back on schedule here. So you guys, you have an amazing week. I hope you see and experience and read cool things. Oh gosh, I don't know if I should bring it up. Yeah, I'm going to bring it up now. All right, so there has been a lot of stress about what's happening in the U.S. A lot of stress economically, and as someone who has 2 projects on my schedule for crowdfunding this year, We Bring Only Death for late spring, early summer, and Coven Volume 2, October. I am absolutely terrified that those tariffs are going to come in and completely wipe out the entire economy, meaning that there's literally no point to crowdfunding anything unless you're a superstar. So I believe Tuesday is when we're supposed to find out if those tariffs are happening. And once we see the shape of those tariffs, I'm going to reach out to the fine folks at Zoop, who I work with for my crowdfunded projects, and find out what their plan is. Do they have a plan? It's quite possible. I mean, it's like no one knows if this is actually going to happen or not. It's kind of disturbing, to say the least. At the very, no matter what's going to happen, I'm going to finish most of these books, but they may not crowdfund this year. If the economy is absolute terrible, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start publishing We Bring Only Death as a feature from a Patreon for this year, and then do the book next spring, summer, assuming things get better. If the economy is just terrible, I mean, I'm going to keep doing them, and I'm going to have to crowdfund them at some point. The other thing I'm thinking about is as a safer item to test the waters this year for crowdfunding, what I might do is a new, like 200 to 300 page sketchbook. I have so much work that has not been seen or printed out since the first one out, or commissions and stuff like that. I got like over 100 food bank commissions that would make a great addition for this book. I've done so much charity pieces over the years, so many sketches, so many developmental things, failed creator-owned projects where there's a lot of art, but nothing happened with them. So this week we'll all find out what's happening with the tariffs between US, Canada, Mexico, China, and Europe. Hopefully they don't happen. Hopefully he's smarter than that and backs down on it. But if they happen, everything's going to be up in the air. It's going to be a scary year. But no matter what will happen is if We Bring Only Death and Coven Tales from the Witch House get put on hold for this year, I will do a massive 200 to 300 page. And I'm really inspired by Kim Jong-gi in his massive sketchbook. I'll just do these massive full sketchbooks, and I can probably do one every 2-3 years with the amount of work I do. And that would allow us to see how the economy handles crowdfunding. And I like the idea of like a really big, black and white and color book, because there's so much color work that would go into, because there's so many paintings for the food bank project and other things I've done. Yeah. So I wasn't going to bring it up tonight. I was going to bring it up next week once I know, but I figure we're going to find out in 2 days, right? So, print on demand is so expensive, and it can never be. It's so immensely expensive. My friend Jason Copland's doing print on demand for. He's now out of print, a Zoop crowdfunded book. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. God, why am I just literally name fell on my head and the book's not in my studio because I finished it. Shoot. Full Tilt. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it lost fell on my head. Yeah, he's doing print on demand, and it makes the book insanely expensive. And if this is a 300-page book, we're looking at like $100 for people buying a book. I would much rather spend 25, 30 through Zoop. So yeah, starting this Tuesday, I'll have a better sense of what's happening in the future, the immediate future. The tariffs don't happen. It's going to be We Bring Only Death. Going to crowdfund as soon as I'm within the 20 pages of the end. And then Coven 2, which is mostly done. And again, if everything gets put on hold, I think I'll serialize and maybe a page a week through the year. We Bring Only Death, and I actually have all those dailies, which Coven stories I was doing last year that I put on hold when I got sick. So I got those to put out. So there's going to be a lot of witch and Viking content, regardless of what happens economically. But I don't want to. I want people to want these books and be able to afford them, if that makes sense. I don't want people going, geez, I'm not going to eat. Am I going to buy your book? That would be crazy. I would never want that. So I'd much rather put these out when people are more comfortable doing it, and just keep promoting them. Yeah, I guess that's it. I've really gone over now, 15 minutes over, which is good, I guess. Again, you guys have a lovely week. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. It's always appreciated. And you can always ask more questions. You can make special requests for I could do a stream on an educational subject like drawing hands or shoulders or feet or something like that. I could do like a nice segment on that, and then clip it out and then run it as a smaller video later, which is something I should have done with other earlier videos. But yeah, all right, 7 days, inking this page for you guys. You have a great week, and I hope nothing but good things happen for you all. Night, everybody.